Women on a Green Mission. Follow along as two friends document their unfurling permaculture journeys.
Join our chats each week where we'll be sharing how we and others apply permaculture to our gardens and daily life.
We're no experts. We're at the start of our journey, fumbling our way to a greener life. We'd love your company along the way.
Hey!
Hello, we're back.
Welcome to season 3.
Oh, that was a nice break.
2 weeks. 2 weeks is enough.
We still do lots of stuff, but it's just, we don't have to worry about the recording side of things. Yeah. So what's been happening? What have you done in your 2 weeks?
Yes. We have been doing all our council approvals. So our house is getting lodged, so it all had to be done. And there was some little tweaks we had to make. So yeah, getting all that over the line so we can start construction.
Oh, fantastic. That is exciting. So you've got the deck down now for the tiny house, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so the deck's done. The driveway was done. That was already done. So now you've got the deck. So when does the next stage start on the actual house? So I know that you're getting your grey water system. That's happening.
Yeah. So the thing we're waiting on is our caravan to sell because we can't build until we sell that van. So we're kind of in a holding pattern. Like we're ready to pull the trigger and our certifier's like 6 weeks, book in this, get the concrete poured, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, we can't quite do that yet. So we've got one guy who's from WA who's interested in it.
Yeah.
But he's from WA. So it's like, I hope he pulls through with the deal. He said he's going to put through a big deposit and then come with his family because they're going to literally come over and start their lap of Australia from here.
Oh,
but it's
wow.
kind of
Okay.
like a bit of a gamble. Yeah, so it's a bit of a gamble. Like we said to him, if he pulls out, we'll keep his deposit. So hopefully he's serious, but he hasn't paid the deposit yet either. So we're kind of just waiting for all that to happen.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything hinges on that van getting sold. So, I mean, we're comfortable here. We've got water, we've got power, we've got the deck now, so we can have our coffee on the deck in the morning. We're, thermally insulated. Like we're warm for winter. Like we could live like this for a while. Like there's no if, ands, or buts. But that's not the problem. It's just me being impatient for the build to
You
start.
just want it done like now. I want my
Yeah,
house.
pretty much.
I want my house.
Pretty much. Yeah. And what about you? What have you?
Oh, well, we've been catching up with friends. We've been really social, which is nice. We've just been hunkering down too because it's, been cold, it's winter. So, the fire's been crack-a-lacking pretty much, all day if we're home. We keep feeding it. And if we're not, then whoever gets home first is responsible for, getting it going again. So it's just been, hunkering down and keeping quite warm and toasty. Working on some plans. So, using this time to think about, what the next stages are. I've redesigned version 3 of the turkey coop. We were originally going to move what we had. Aunt wanted it down closer to the house. And I said, no, I really don't want that because flies. We've just got, huge amount of flies. We've got a dairy across the road. We've got sheep on the other property plus our animals as well. So I'm like, we just don't need any more shit near the house, basically. And so, we tossed that over for a while and he's agreed that, he's happy for it to stay where it is, but it obviously needs a refurb and an overhaul, which we'll do. So it's going to get a hard roof. It's going to get a second dwelling for mums and bubs. So the idea will be that we will be able to raise our own turkeys for meat. I'm going to do the same thing with chickens. Haven't decided on ducks yet. I know it sounds really silly, like, 'cause I love my turkeys and my chickens, but for some reason in my head, I can process them for meat, but I can't the ducks. I don't know what that is.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. Wow. I know I'm sitting with that. I'm going, where is this coming from? And, when we were talking about starting to do turkeys, like even Mitch, our son, said, but like Tom and Percy, though, like they're Like, we're not going to do them, are we? And I'm like, no, they're our pets. Like, it'll be, we'll get some girls in and then it'll be the offspring. And so we'll basically have
Yeah.
our breeders, and then we'll have, we might keep a couple of the extra girls and maybe sell them, or I don't know yet. But yeah,
Mm.
he was like, well, we can't do anything with them. Like, we can't dispatch them. And I'm like, no, 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 of course not. Like, they're our pets. But and disassociate and go, well, but I can nail their kids. Like, it's this,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a bit of a dichotomy. It's something that I'm sitting with at the moment, trying to understand where that's coming from in my own head. And after being like, I've been, was a vegetarian for almost a decade. And, since being able to source ethical meat and then deciding obviously to do our own, because for me, it was never about, um, it was never about, meat is bad and, cows burp and, ruin the world. It wasn't about that whatsoever. It was
Mm-mm.
about the fact that our slaughtering processes are so shit and inhumane.
Mm.
Like, to be pumping animals through these facilities where all they're smelling is blood, they're hearing panicked calls, and that's the last stages of their life, I think is pretty crappy. So, and I understand too, like, the rules that we have here is that for you to be able to commercially sell meat, it has to be slaughtered and processed in a licensed facility. You can't do that at home. Like, you
Yeah.
can do that at home for yourself and then give that away to friends and trade and things like that, but you can't sell it. So we wouldn't be able to sell our turkeys unless they got sent off to an abattoir, basically. So yeah, since
Mm.
finding ethical meat to the degree that I can find it, a lot of it, they have mobile butchers and facilities that come out to the farms, and I really like that. But again, because that's a costly process, it's very time consuming, it's resource heavy as far as people and equipment getting out to the farm. So therefore, that
Mm.
comes through in the prices of the meat. So it's like, well, we're certainly not eating a lot because it is quite expensive. So yeah, just kind of
Yeah.
juggling with that. And but I'm really keen to get the turkey coop sorted over the next sort of
Exciting.
3 or 4 months. Yeah.
So, this episode, we are going to talk just us about our winter gardens, maybe what other people can consider doing in winter, what that looks like, considerations, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, to paint a picture for everybody, what does winter look and feel like where you are in your climate, Joe?
Well, it's definitely colder than you. So we get, it gets pretty cool. Compared to other places in the world where people would look at us and go, "Well, you're not buried under snows or ice, so therefore it's not cold."
Well, you said you've got your fire going during the day already, so it must be pretty cold.
Yeah. Oh, the days wear socks as well. Keep in mind. We like it warm and toasty. So at the moment, it's getting down. We're sort of getting those temperatures around sort of 15 degrees during the day,
Yeah.
and then at
Okay.
night, in the depths of winter, yeah, we'll drop to minus. So it'll be like minus 2, -3. And we get some frost, so we've got a few little hollows around the property, but because we are up on a bit of a ridge, the whole property doesn't cop frost. So but as you drive through of a morning, like, you can see all the gullies there, completely white, so they get
Mm.
a really heavy frost. But for us, it's the winds. I'm not looking forward to the winds. So August
Ah.
and then into spring, into September, we get gnarly westerly winds. Like, one year we had our polytunnels completely dislodge, and like, they were anchored. They were absolutely anchored to the ground, and they dislodged and ended up in the
Wow.
neighbour's paddock. Yeah, we've had bits of the shed peel away. We've had it gets pretty wild and woolly. So, and our windbreaks are not, they're not effective yet. So we've got some windbreaks planted, but they're still young. So hopefully to get a shade cloth windbreak in to at least dampen down the winds a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, so we're really hoping the winds aren't bad this year, but that's one of the elements that we need to deal with, and that we need to plan for and consider, when we've put our permaculture design plan together.
Mm,
What,
mm.
what about you?
Yeah.
What's it like up there?
Well, I don't know because I haven't had a winter up here yet. So, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be a bit warmer. So, I was in Newcastle. We didn't get any frosts. We are in suburbia and by the coast, so we never got frost there. We did at my mum's place, so I have experienced that a little bit when we were at Scone. But yeah, I think no frosts here. I'm kind of playing around a little bit, trying to extend my seasons because from what I've read in this subtropical kind of climate that I'm in, I can definitely push the boundaries more than what I'm used to in our temperate zone. So, yeah, like I've still got tomatoes that I've just planted a few weeks ago in the ground and some zucchinis in. So, it'll be really interesting to kind of see what happens and what
Yeah.
thrives. And I'm just kind of putting seeds in the ground and seeing what sticks. My brassicas are in, all my leafy greens are in. Funnily, my beans aren't doing too well, so that's interesting. I don't know whether it's been
Mhm.
the wet as well has contributed just to them being a bit waterlogged in the ground. But apparently, we do get some fallen winds up here as well. So interested to see what that's like. We've got some really big tall gums and things around. So just how that plays into the weather, the wind. Um, I'm not sure if we've got any kind of little microclimates on our block, like pockets where it will be quite cold. So yeah, it's all a big guessing game for me at the moment.
Those observations will be really good. That'll be really fun to, just see what happens,
Mm,
and it's going to then feed into that planning for change, isn't it? Where you think like you've got a
yeah.
plan. Like I know you were saying at the end of season two, you're a bit kind of hesitant about putting in some trees because you weren't
Mm,
quite sure where to put them, and especially your citrus. So yeah, I suppose for the ones that you haven't gotten around to putting in yet, it'll be interesting then to see where, yeah, like you said, the microclimates are, and oh, hang on, we get a frost
yeah,
here, but
yeah,
over there is quite protected. The winds have come through over here, and this is a
yeah.
corridor. And then how's that going to work? Like
Mm,
when you've built the house as well, like is that going to buffer
mm.
the winds? Is it going to act as a windbreaker? Is that going to create a corridor? Or is it going to, just jump straight over the house and down? Like how is that going to play?
Yeah. And see, the house isn't there, so that's going to be another totally different ball game next season in winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, even now, I know. I think I've mentioned before, like I've put stuff where there was sun, and now the sun's dipped too low that it's not getting sun because of the big gums next door. So in the depth of winter, I don't know if I'm going to be getting any sun where I've currently planted my veggies. So I think I'm really going to have to think about like a summer patch and a winter patch because summers here are effing hot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to want that shade in parts of summer and so yeah, I'm kind of just figuring out and then it's like what do I do with those beds when they're not in production? Like will the cover crop still grow? Do I just mulch them? Um, so yeah, I'm just playing around with all of that at the moment. But I know that next winter is going to be different again, like you said, because my house is going to be there. So I may have a big windbreak or I may have created a big wind tunnel. And I'm trying to take as many photos as I can, but I don't think I'll be like looking at the date on the photos. So I think I really need to get in the habit of actually journaling and
Hmm.
being able to write down what I'm seeing in my observations. Because yeah, I really don't think that photos will be enough. Um, yeah, so we'll see. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if you can do a combination of both of those things where,
Yeah,
you
that
might be,
that's what I want to do.
yeah, journaling, and then you've got your photos to fall back on and go, oh, okay, yeah,
Mm,
that's what I meant, as opposed to, yeah, you're just looking at a photo going, what did I take that photo
mm,
for? Like, what am I looking at here? There was obviously
yeah.
something that I was observing at the time, but yeah.
Mm-mm. And I'm bad at like filing my photos away, so it'll just be like a whole heap of photos. Like I need to actually maybe month by month chunk my photos, but that's just like way too much organization in my life. So I don't
I'd
know.
love
We'll see.
Oh, I'd love to do that as well. Like I look back through, my photo files, my Google Photos. Like I've got them stored, like on my phone and on my Apple account, and then I've got the Google ones, and like I just try and put them in all sorts of places where I can just save them. Basically being cheap without having to pay for extra storage. And
Yeah, yeah.
I got the warning, hey, you're 80% capacity, and 90% of that 80% capacity is photos, and not
Yeah.
files. So I thought, oh, I've really got to go back through and start, just going through it and getting rid of the crap and, screenshots and duplicates and all of that. And I was just having a bit of a flick through, and yeah, looking back at this place, a couple of years after we first got here, and we'd done a few little things, put the veggie garden in and things like that, but we hadn't made any huge strides, and there was certainly not
Mm,
the big infrastructure changes that we've made, and it just looks like a different property. Like it was,
yeah.
and I was the same. I wish I had taken photos and made some notes against those photos at the time so that I could go back and go, well, yeah, this was at this particular time of year. And, this is, like we've had dry winters, we've had wet winters, we've had, you know,
Mm.
the 2019 fires when the whole
Bushfires.
east coast of Australia was on fire. We were here for that, and so what that was like here. Yeah, and so yeah, I wish I'd done that. So it's really valuable to do. I know that it's a lot of dicking around
Yeah.
and organisation, but it's well worth it.
Yeah. And I've been getting the drone up too because seeing Brett's aerial photos really inspired me to do that. So I've been trying to not just do aerial photos, but videos. So
Yep.
I've tried to get the same flight pattern roughly of like coming through the front gate and then kind of coming up, where the house would be and then down the borders of the block and then coming from one side and the other side, like a similar pattern. So we can go, oh, wow, like there has been a lot of growth and this is what we can see and look how the land's changed. And yeah, so trying to be more conscious about doing that as well. So I've gotten it up 3 times now in 6 months, so pretty regularly.
Oh, that's good.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So but I guess also, what other things are you considering implementing this season, like this time of year as opposed to other seasons in particular? What are you looking at doing?
For me, it's a little bit less in the garden and it's more around systems. So tightening up our systems, it's cleaning up. It's, we've got to clean out the
Mm,
shed. We've got to clean out one of the shipping containers. We've got some leaks there. My poor potting shed has just been like me going, oh, let's walk through the door and just throw stuff in the general direction of the corner and see what lands. So that's a bit of a mess. So for me, winter is that time where I get the opportunity to start working on the projects like the turkey coop, it's maintenance, it's cleaning up, things like that. And what I'm
yeah,
really hoping to get to as well is starting the new vegetable garden. So we've actually taken a spot, I think I've mentioned it before, up near the orchard where we're not going to get the shade of the tree from the east side. Um, but it'll still be protected, relatively protected from the west in summer. So I really want to get some weed matting down for the paths there. I've just decided I'm biting the bullet, and I'm going to do weed matting in the paths, and then just do no dig garden beds on those. So I'm going to have to,
yeah.
we got to peel a fence back and reconfigure some fences so the ducks can't come in there. Put some small gauge wire on the bottom so that the rabbits don't come through because they're starting to encroach closer and closer to the house.
Mm,
Yeah, so that's sort of that's winter for me. It's that let's plan, let's create, let's get ready for spring, and then obviously it's getting the spring crops in early. So starting anything that I can early in the little seed raising hothouse, getting
mhm.
those cracking so that once they're big enough, they can go into the ground. And around here, as soon as it warms up, we get our first warm day, and it's just like poof, everything just blasts up.
Yeah,
So, I'd really
yeah,
like to
yeah.
be organised this year. I have been organised some years. Most years I haven't. I sort of get halfway through spring and I'm like, crap, like I've just lost, a good 6 to 8 weeks of growing time here where I could have had, 3 successional crops over this period of time. So, essentially 3 harvests. And I'm getting one. I might push another one, but then by that stage we're into summer and everything's getting absolutely sizzled. So yeah, for me it's
Yeah.
being organized. So you need to hold me to account to
Yeah.
that. I'm going to put that on you. That's your
Okay.
responsibility at
Promise.
least to hold me to account.
Promise. Well, do you do much, or have you got many plans for bare rooted fruit trees? Like that's to winter's a big season for that as well.
It
Or
is.
pruning of your existing orchard or anything?
So I've done some pruning already of the
Yeah.
fruit trees. We're not going to be putting any in this year because we're reconfiguring the orchard a little bit. But what we are putting in is bare rooted roses. So we've still got our front garden,
Oh,
front,
that's right.
back. I don't know. It depends on who you ask the way our block's shaped, but it's out that way towards Lambs Valley. So it's over the view. So we've got a garden bed in front of the deck. And I've got my side out here out the back where it's all different colored roses. We've got different types of lavender. There's half a dozen different varieties of grapes that grow down in summer, so to protect from the western sun. And it's just an absolute blast of color and flowers, and it's just wild. And then out this side is going to be Anthony's side, where it's a little bit more ordered. So I've ordered from a local nursery here bare rooted roses, so just Joey's, because they're named after me. Well, I'm going to take that anyway. But no, my mum actually bought me a Just Joey rose a couple of years ago, and the scent of it is just
Oh,
divine. And so we went, let's propagate that one and let's just put them all along the front. And then we went, that's going to take forever. We don't have the time for that. So
mm.
let's just go and support a local nursery. So we go to Mount Dyring Nursery and, ordered, I don't even know how many we ordered. We measured it out and ordered enough. And yeah, I'm just waiting for the message to come through to say your roses are in, come pick them up. So,
Come pick it
um,
up. No,
so
nice.
they'll go in and they'll be companion planted with garlic. I was going to say garlic chive society garlic.
Society garlic.
Yep. So we got
Yep.
green, so standard garlic, and the variegated one, which is like a strappy white and
Nice.
green stripe. So we'll have
Yep.
that, and I think we're going to put some lemon thyme in there as well, which is a really strong ground
Oh,
cover that works
nice.
well for us here. So yeah, so that'll
Yep.
happen
Yep.
as well. So it's a little bit less on the food side and a little bit more on the aesthetic
Hmm.
side, and yeah, just that I
But
suppose.
that's
Yeah,
fun.
just flowers. Yeah, I love flowers. And how's Addie going with her roses? Because she wanted
We
roses,
don't
didn't
have any
she?
yet. She's determined to have roses. So I was like, when you make your garden bed, you can have it. And she hasn't done it yet. So I was like, well, we can't have any roses yet. But I think I think our main focus for winter will be to continue mulching our beds so that
Mhm.
when summer comes, we're prepped and we're ready and they're good to go. Because I know our summer's going to be hot. Like February and March here were our first 2 months, and it was full on, like so hot. Like got to get out of the garden by 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, like
Otherwise,
hot,
you
hot.
just fry.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I think I'll be focusing on, mulching a lot. I really want to get the mulch pathways in between my beds down so that we can start closing that circle of once they break down, put them back on the beds,
Yeah.
lay some fresh stuff down. Um, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of composting. So I've got 2 piles going at the moment. So I've turned the first one a couple times. The second one I started 2 days ago. So I've got to get out there this afternoon and give it a little turn. And then I'm going to try and let them rest on the advice of Ernie. We had Ernie on season 2. Try and let them rest as much as possible. So I'll make another pile for them to kind of sit there, and I'm going to start again with 2 more piles because I think we're really going to need as much compost as possible.
Yeah.
We got some apparently good quality compost from the local landscaper here, and the
Hmm.
pH was 10.
Oh, ooh, that's a little bit off the charts.
It was like mushroom compost, and it was meant to have all this stuff in it and be lovely, and it rocked up and I could just smell it. I was like, oh my god. And like we had a load that was a bit, how you going, and I planted it out, and after having it all day long working with this massive pile, I kind of felt a bit woozy. This one we got, it pulled up in the driveway because my mum collected it. I opened the back of it and went to scoop it out, and I instantly had a headache. And I was like, I'm testing this. Like, this cannot be good. And the smell of it was intense. And it just went purple, like straight away, instantly purple.
My
I was like,
goodness.
oh, fuck. So we went and bought some sulfur to mix through with it to try and calm it down. I'm going to mix some mulch and stuff through it and just let it sit there because I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be usable for a while. And then I went to a organic farm. He just sells buckets of compost, like much smaller scale, more expensive, but I bought his buckets and I just pocket planted with that again, which is what I did initially when we
Yeah.
came here. But I just can't keep going on this merry-go-round of crappy commercial compost and soil. So I really just need to make my own. And they've excavated where the driveway was. So we have a whole massive pile of soil there as well. So some of it's really good topsoil and some of it's really clay soil. So we're going to mix the clay through, try and get our friend has like a little digger to mix some stuff through the clay and some organic matter through, some wood chip and shavings, and try and let that sit. And then the good stuff, we're going to try and start shaping where our orchard's going to be. So that's kind of our winter project, to get our orchard in the ground. So we've got 4 figs here that are ready to go. So I'm going to start trimming choosing which branches to trim for espalier. So we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 apples already, and some citrus. We've got some limes, lemons. What else have we got? I'm trying to look out the window. Some finger limes, and I think there's a mandarin maybe. So I'm going to put those in guilds. I'd love to get some big tanks, some water tanks, and cut them down and put them in big Koro tanks and make guilds out of my citrus trees.
Perfect.
And then, everything else will be espaliered in an orchard and netted because we have possums, kangaroos, fruit bats, everything.
Everything.
So
Fruit
I'm just going to bite the
flies.
bullet and espalier. Yeah, espalier it all from the get-go. So it's the way it's meant, the way it'll be easy to harvest. We've got big styrofoam boxes, 3 of them full of raspberry canes. We've got pots full of strawberries, so that's going to be all interplanted below. And same thing, we can pull the net down then, and once they've kind of started to fruit, just hide them all away from the critters. So that'll be our little orchard system up there. And I'd love to get I'd love to get a chicken coop sorted this winter. So to be able to get some chooks coming into spring and have our own eggs would be amazing.
Are you thinking a fixed chicken coop or like a chicken tractor type thing that you can roll through?
No. Our dogs love chickens, as in they love to bite them and eat them. So we're just going to have a really, they love them. So we're going to have a big coop area for them and a really big run that's enclosed because I just don't trust our dogs, and there's other wildlife and stuff around, and I've got enough going on with the kids and everything to have to worry about my chickens free ranging. And so they're going to be kind of free range in a big area, but they're going to be enclosed. So I'm going to try and integrate some stuff into there so they can have mulberries to have, and other trees in cages so that once the tree gets big enough they can eat them. And just try and give them some systems so they're more like free range chickens, but no, they'll definitely kind of be in their own little area. And then it'll be easier, I think, to get that yield of their manure as well. If they're all in there, I can just rake it all up in that one spot rather than them pooping wherever and not necessarily it going onto the garden or into my compost bay or wherever.
Where you actually want it. Well, at least that way, you can get it into the compost. And I find the floor of the coop, cleaning that out, and because you've got a lot of manure, but you've got a lot of broken down carbonaceous material as well. So depending on what you put on the floor, like we've put wood chips sometimes, which lasts a lot longer. It takes a lot longer to break down. We've also used
Mm.
some, I call it like light mulch, which is like sugarcane mulch and grass clippings and,
Yeah.
like straw type mulch. And that doesn't last as long, but it absorbs a lot more quickly. So it can be
Oh,
a little
okay.
bit more hygienic, but short term. So you've got to obviously turn it over a lot more. And the turkeys at the
Mm-hmm.
moment, so I haven't been up there to actually clean them out. And they don't go under their perches at all. So they sit on the perches that we've made them. They poop, so we've actually got quite a thick layer of poop on the ground underneath, but they just don't go under there. So I'm not sort of too worried about that. But a really interesting observation with that is I've been watching the ants. So when it wasn't raining, watching the ants, and I don't know what type of ants they are. They're not a meat ant, but they're a bigger ant, and they do have a bit of a red tinge. And they've been
Hmm.
harvesting like little bits of dander that have come off the turkeys, and also little bits of poop. Like I'm watching them go and chew little
Hmm.
bits of poop off and go and march it back to their net. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're eating it or what. But I was like, that's really interesting. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to leave a
Yeah.
little bit there. And they've actually made a relatively big dint in it. So I thought, well, if they're taking it with them and they're taking it underground, well, how good's that? They're almost like a little dung beetle. They're
Yeah.
just taking this poop and putting it underground. So I thought, oh, that's really
That's so
interesting.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have to do some more research on them.
The other thing that I would love to get this winter, but it's totally unrealistic, is I've been spamming Oscar with mini cows. I so want a mini cow. He doesn't reckon we have enough room, but then I was reading about them and they can be in like large backyards. We have more than a large backyard. Like
Mhm.
surely we can have a mini cow. And I just think it would be the cutest thing and the kids are obsessed, so we're like full on pressuring him to get a mini cow, but I don't think that's happening this year.
Well, if you just happen to, come home with a large dog that lives out
Oh, they're
the
so
back that
cute.
moves, you could get
They're
away with that.
so cute.
So are you
Yeah,
looking
and
at,
like we'll be saving on manure.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, I was going to say, is it just for a pet? Is it for manure? Is it for milking? Are you thinking about maybe milking a mini cow? Do you get mini milk? I don't know. What do you get?
I have no idea. I've just seen all these super cute Instagram videos of cows and now I want one.
So you're taking
I
the
don't
highly
know. I'll have to
responsible approach
see.
of, oh my God, it's cute. I need it in my life.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so the poop. I want it definitely for the poop. We wouldn't eat it, it would be a pet. But I don't know if they're good milk or not. I'd have to look into that. Um, we're looking at other things, like we'd love to do meat chickens. I think I've said that before. Once we get a bit
Yeah.
more established, considering turkeys, considering a mini goat. Yeah, we haven't really made up our minds, but I think, yeah, winter for us will be a lot of that, like you, prep work. So getting coops ready. We really need to get our wood storage area sorted so that we can get our wood from the trees we've cut down, drying and ready for
Yep.
next winter. Yeah, pathways, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, well, I think you and I are going to be very, very busy little beavers over winter, considering that winter's meant to be the slow, go slow and low kind of time. I don't think we're going to be going slow. I think we're going to get to the end of winter and go, oh my goodness, I haven't even got a quarter of what I wanted to achieve done. That's usually what happens. But it's those
Yeah.
just slow, not say slow, but small steps, isn't it? Like just one bite at a
Mm, mm.
time, one project at a time. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to try this winter to get um, more connected with our community up here too. So
Mhm.
the first women in business for up here, one of the local permaculture, actually she's a permaculture farm, Cass, we're going to have her on this season. She's hosting a women business night. So the first one was on the June long weekend on Monday. So yeah, like wanting to just continue with those relationships and forming those kinds of connections. Um, we really want to start going to bush kindy more regularly because it was way too hot in summer to do that, and try and meet some more like-minded people. Yeah, like just take the time, I think, in winter to do that. maybe have some fires and invite some people over and kind of, yeah, sink our teeth into that a little bit over winter as well. It's a new town for us. And so, yeah, we kind of want to lean into that a little bit more. Um,
Which
yeah.
is, and that's good. You need that. You need that for your soul, and to make those connections and make those like-hearted people, and that's what fills your
Mm,
cup. Like when you've got those people
yeah.
around you, and yeah, the only way to do that apparently is to go and be social, as I've been told.
Mm. And I think like starting out the block, we've done so much work on the yard. Like any free moment I've had, it's been outside doing stuff. So I've kind
Mhm.
of put that to the side a little bit. Like we've met lots of people because we're outside and they walk past and we meet them, but we haven't actually kind of grown that relationship any further. I was speaking to Elle from the Australian Medicinal Herbs, who's around the corner, and we'd really like to get. I saw the Central Coast Permaculture have it on. They've pinned it. It's their first post when you go in, of all the networks of growers and local things that you can access. I'd really
Yeah.
like to get something like that happening up here. She made a really good point that, she went to Byron before she started her brand. She went to Byron and asked if they had any Australian locally grown tea, and they said, no, we don't. And she was like, we're in the Northern Rivers. Like, we're one of the primary produce areas for New South Wales. Like, how do we not have more local growers? Or is it just that we're not aware of them? So, yeah, maybe doing a little bit of work around that. Like, where in our local community can people access things and who can we network with? And yeah, really leaning into that. And like I've been speaking to Anthea about, women in permaculture. So maybe kind of, getting that up and running a little bit more. Yeah, like those kind of people care, um, earth care sides of permaculture that I need to start flexing and learning more about than just being comfortable in my garden and not
Yeah.
pushing my comfort zones.
It's so easy to do. And I love that you touched on that because we are absolute suckers for it. I am, because I go, right, I've got this project I want to achieve. So it's head down, ass up. And then
Mm,
I do neglect, connecting with other people and, connecting with my family and friends and making them a priority.
mm,
I make the project a priority because it's like, well, if I don't get this done, then I won't get this growing. And I've had to really call myself on that a lot and go, well, is it actually, that much of a priority? If I don't get that in this weekend or I don't get that project finished in time, no one's dying. It's okay. It
mm.
can it can wait another weekend or two. It doesn't matter. Having that connection and
Yeah,
visiting my friends and hugging people and talking to people and having that in soul enrichment is so important. And um,
mm,
again, we've touched on this before where sometimes it's a bit hard to kind of get over that initial hump to get out there and put yourself out there. Like permaculture at the pub's a good
yeah,
example in the fact that we get new people show up and they sort of come over and they go, oh, like, is this the group? Is like, do I need to do anything? Or I don't really know anything. Or we're like, that's okay, just come over and chat. Like you just get in on a conversation. Don't be shy. Don't hang back.
mm,
Jump in. But there's plenty of people there that if someone is hanging back a little bit, they sort of come over and go, hey, where are you from and what do you do? And, what do you love and what do you want to
yeah,
learn? And, or do you want to just stand here and absorb the energy and be quiet? And that's okay too. Like, that's all right.
yeah,
And everyone always walks away feeling good. We always get in the car and go, what a great
yeah,
night. But yeah, sometimes it takes that bit of
yeah,
effort to do it. We can all, when we all joke all the time, like we'd love to just run away and live in the bush and be hermits and not have to talk to people. But really, people are cool. People are awesome, and if you give people the opportunity
yeah.
to
I
come
mean,
together and share, they'll surprise you.
yeah, it's a fine line though. Like you don't want to always put off your projects. Like I get that mindset. It's like I have time now, I'll do it because next weekend this is on, and then the weekend after it might rain, and so it's a juggling act. And
It
I
is.
think there's a season for everything too. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
when it's warm and we can be outside, I do it, and otherwise we'll go and see out, some friends. And when you're feeling it, you do it, and then when you're not feeling it, you don't. Like I think this, going with that flow of
Yeah.
how you're feeling and energy is really important as well, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to touch on for our winter episode, Joe?
Oh, no, I think just rug up, stay warm, nourish your soul, nourish the body. Have that
Mm.
downtime as well. Like we've talked about being out in the garden and doing projects and being productive and connecting with community, but also just nourishing yourself. And so whether that looks like a cup of tea and a book in front of the fire, whether that's having an afternoon nap, like luxurious, um, whatever that
Mhm.
looks like, for you, if it's getting up early before everyone else in your house has gotten up to have a cup of coffee and just enjoy the quiet, whatever that is for you. Like winter's a really good time to start putting those processes in place, because
Mm.
spring and summer's inspiring in the fact that we go, yeah, we can ditch all the jumpers and we can we're in t-shirts and shorts again and light dresses, and let's get fit and let's start exercising more, and we're going to eat better now, because it's salad season, and we can be outside for longer hours. But I think that, yeah, winter is that time to really start to understand what you need for yourself, and nourish yourself, and
Mm.
observe that in others as well. Like if you can see that your partner or your kids or your friends might be running themselves a little bit thin, just maybe encourage them to
Yeah.
just slow down a little bit and look after themselves, and think about what you can do to help them in that space too. I think that's really important.
Mm, that's a good point. To also, I think, eat seasonally. Like, I think our body needs that in winter to,
Mhm.
eat those hearty foods and to feel that comfort. And yes, I think winter is a good reminder to eat seasonally as well, because it's what your body craves and it's what's going to fuel you during that season. And also, it makes you appreciate the salads when the salads do come around, and,
Absolutely.
eat all those nice winter fruits that, you don't have access to in summer, and just embrace it because, yeah, having oranges all year round is not normal and they don't taste as good. So, taste it and eat it when it's meant to be in season and relish that food or vegetable,
Mhm.
and make the most of it.
Speaking of fruit not being in season, my kumquat
Mm.
tree hasn't got the memo.
Mm.
It's just in fruit
Oh, really?
permanently. Permanently has fruit.
Wow.
I know.
What
It's one of the I
what
shouldn't say it's mine,
variety is
it's
it? Do you know?
Anthony's. No, I don't. Actually, I'll have a look. I say it's mine,
Yeah.
like, what's his is mine and what's mine is mine, right? But it's Anthony's. It's in one of the pots, it's on the back deck. And it was, yeah, meant to produce a little bit of fruit, but it was more for aesthetics. Like, we just wanted some nice citrus trees in pots, and under plant, with some variegated lavenders. And this thing's just, yeah, it's amazing. Like we just keep pulling fruit off, and I've got a bag in the freezer, and we just keep filling up the bag so that when we've got enough, I'll do a big kumquat jam or
Mm.
sauce or something. I don't know yet, but yeah,
Yeah.
she just keeps producing and producing. So I just looked at that and
Wow.
went, okay, so
Um,
you are a 12 months of the year kind of girl. Like, okay, we can do this.
well, I'll take a photo of my mum. She went to Tassie and she bought all these cordials, and one of them is a kumquat cordial, and it's actually really, really nice with just soda or tonic water. I'm trying to get off the grog at the moment, so I've been like trying
Oh, me
different
too.
cordials and making some drinks. So I'll take a photo of the label with the ingredients because, yeah, it's really good. If you got lots in the freezer, you can try and replicate
Yeah,
it.
make a cordial. Oh, that'd be really nice. I like cordials. I like,
Mm.
yeah, in place of drinking wine, we call it fizzy bubbly water, but we just use like a Soda Stream, to make
Yeah.
some mineral water. And
Well,
yeah, I've made different cordials, but I've never done a kumquat, so that'd be cool.
have a look at this one. Her website's called, not sponsored or anything like that. Stir Crazy Lady.
Stir crazy lady. Oh, she sounds like our kind of person.
That's her website. And I love the lemongrass and ginger. It's so good. And it comes out and it's like a thick syrup. So you only need a tiny bit. I bought one locally, which wasn't actually local. I thought, oh, it must be from the area, but it's from the Mornington Peninsula. And it was like a lemon and lime one. And compared to this lady, the Stir Crazy Lady's range, it like is nothing. Like they're so nice tasting, and you need the smallest amount. And I think the bottle is only $16, whereas the one I bought locally was $30.
Oh,
So they're good value for money, and they last for
yeah.
ages, and
Oh,
they're
check
beautiful.
that.
And the lemongrass and ginger one comes with a big stick of lemongrass in it. Like it's all whole ingredients, and yeah, have a look. They're really yummy.
Mm. Well, I'm planting up a heap of lemongrass up along the back of our kitchen garden where we've got the fence. So we don't want the rabbits to come through there. So we're going to just do a really thick planting of lemongrass. And we use a lot of lemongrass in cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? I might even give it a crack to make lemongrass and ginger as
Mm,
well. So I'll probably have to grow a bit more ginger. I
yeah.
haven't got that much in at the moment. So, but yeah, the kumquat definitely. Oh,
Well, I think that's about it for this episode.
I think so. Season 3, we've cracked it.
Really interesting people this season coming up. So we've got an episode about permaculture and mental health, which is a bit
Mhm.
outside our wheelhouse, but we thought that would be really interesting. We have confirmed but not set a date yet, so I'm hoping it's season 3 for a TV personality who's now done a disaster and resilience management degree. So that's a little hint as to who that may be.
Ooh.
We've emailed a couple people we haven't heard back from yet that are some big names, so I won't say their name in case they knock us back. And
We still love them
yeah, we've got
anyway, but
Elle, we still love them, like fangirling, but we've got Elle from the Australian Medicinal Herbs. Her episode is next week. Who else have we got? I'm trying to think. There's lots of people. I might do a little reel to give you a little sneaky preview of who's coming up.
ooh.
So jump on our Instagram if you want to see our guests for this season. We've got a few repeat guests as well coming on, talking specifically about things that they have lots of knowledge about. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker.
And our minis. So this season, our
Yes.
minis, we're actually going to take 10 whole minutes to unpack each of the permaculture principles. So we thought, well, it is season 3 and we've touched on the principles, but we haven't really unpacked what the principles are for us. And I think most of you who are listening will know what those principles are, but this is our take on it. Because I think that those principles, that they are just principles, so therefore they can be applied in lots of different ways, and you view them from different places throughout your permaculture journey. So I think that'll be that'll be interesting as well. So we really hope that you enjoy our take on the principles and how they are applied. But I think that's it for the
Perfect.
episode, my darling. I think we're done.
That's it. All right. Well, we'll see you all for our mini on Tuesday, which will be observation and interaction. And we've got Elle coming up after that, the Australian Medicinal Herbs.
Fantastic. All right. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Practical Permaculture podcast. Jump onto our Facebook group to keep the chat going and to look for any resources that we mentioned on today's show. Look in the show notes.
And if you liked the episode today, then subscribe. Please give us a review and share. And if you didn't, then that's okay. We'll sure you'll find the right podcast for you.
Bye.
Bye.